all my Muslim followers that's getting persecuted in Mecca. He didn't tell them to go to Medina, the second holiest place. He didn't tell them to go to Yemen. He didn't tell them to go to Iraq, Syria.
None of these Arab countries.
None of these Arab countries. He told them to go to Africa, Ethiopia.
For you blacks.
I know how hard it is to travel the world or to certain communities and feel like you looked at as less than.
We are practicing what Prophet ﷺ practiced when he was living. As he been passed away 1,400 years ago, the religion of Islam is still the same.
To become Muslim or to be Muslim is to submit yourself to the oneness of the creator of the entire universe, world, and heavens. In the building, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of the Worldly Life Podcast. Support the channel. Continue to like,
subscribe,
comment. I want to engage more with my subscribers, supporters. I want to let me know what y'all want to see. Any critiques, anything, what topics y'all want to hear us talk about. And we're going to do that. But I got none of them, my guests. Ali even Noah. He need no introduction.
Oh, I don't.
He needs no introduction.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Everything speaks for itself about that man.
Nah. Keep on going.
Keep on going?
Nah, I'm playing.
But anyways, I got my guy, childhood friend, none other than Ali even Noah. And today we got a very, very interesting topic we want to talk about and cover for y'all. So please tune in to the end.
Peace and blessings be upon everyone that's watching this video. And what is a very interesting dialogue that I had recently was within my friend group, our friend group is speaking about the origins of Islam in Africa.
Correct.
And it's many different, it's a lot of misinformation that's going on right now. Whereas you have certain people believe that Islam came through Africa at a later time before it's even developed into what we know as al-Islam that we see in practice today. A lot of people mistakenly or arrogantly or ignorantly, however you want to call it, they believe that the religion of Islam is an Arab religion. We don't believe in that. We do not adhere to that at all. Do you adhere to that?
No, I know Muslim do.
So who was the first Muslim? Before we even tackle what we want to tackle about the origins of Islam in Africa, who do we believe is the first prophet in al-Islam?
Adam alayhi salam.
Adam, right? And he was the first person to ever been created, right?
Correct.
So we believe that Adam was the first person to become Muslim. And what does it mean to become Muslim?
To submit your will to the will of Allah.
Basically, to become Muslim or to be Muslim is to submit yourself to the oneness of the creator of the entire universe, world, and heavens.
Simple.
Right? So, now, do we believe in Jesus? Peace and blessing be upon him.
Absolutely.
Do we believe in Moses?
Of course.
Do we believe in John the Baptist?
Yes, absolutely.
Do we believe in Noah?
Yes, and we say peace and blessing be upon them all when we mention their names.
Perfect. And this is a very important question I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
Where did Jesus, peace and blessing upon him, where did he grow up? Palestine. Where is the most Christians known today to be around the world?
In the Middle East.
You have the Middle East. You have a lot of people in South America. You have people in Europe.
Africa.
Is Christianity now to be a white man religion? No. Abraham, the father of the three Abrahamic faiths, supposedly, from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Abraham was born in Iraq. So if you look at all of the major religions, you will see that the origins of it is in the Middle East. Now, we have a tradition that Allah sent down 124,000 prophets, and he sent them throughout the whole globe. So there was Chinese prophets, African prophets. There was prophets that came through India.
Yes, absolutely. Facts.
And they all followed Islam. They all came with the one teachings of La ilaha illallah, meaning there is no God to worship but Allah. Now, the difference between the religion of Adam, not the religion of Adam, the teachings of Adam and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him, that throughout the time of history, new rules was now being added due to the certain types of people that was also coming in society. Meaning, Prophet Jesus and Prophet Moses it was a bit different. Jesus, he had to what? He said, I have not come to change the laws of what Moses came before him. He have came to what? Only scribe it, only to make sure that people follow what was lost within them. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, was the last and final messenger amongst the long list of prophets that came before him. Now, in Islam, when Islam came to Mecca through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was being persecuted. He was being criminalized. They was calling him a terrorist, which is not, that's not different from what we've been called today, huh? The same thing. So look at where the first place Islam went to after Mecca. And if you know Saudi Arabia, you know that you have different regions in Mecca, like how we have America. We have different states. You have Medina, the second place, Medina. You have Riyadh, you have Jeddah, you have Taif, you have all these different many places within Saudi Arabia. Where was the second place? It didn't go to Taif. It didn't go to Medina, the second holiest city
in the world.
According to Muslims. It didn't go to Jeddah. It didn't go to Yemen. If you turn around, you go to Yemen. Where did it go? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, there is a king in Africa. What king was he referring to? He was referring to
Najashi.
Alhamdulillah.
I remember
the name.
Yeah.
Which he's famously known as Negus. In which country was this? Did he send his companions to go to?
In Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. He said there's an African Christian king. He's known to be unjust. He's known to be righteous. And he's known to be compassionate. All my Muslim followers that's getting persecuted in Mecca. He didn't tell them to go to Medina, the second holiest place. He didn't tell them to go to Yemen. He didn't tell them to go to Iraq, Syria.
None of these Arab countries.
None of these Arab countries. He told them to go to Africa, Ethiopia.
For you blacks, that's a very fun fact for you guys. Do you know that Africa was the first place where Muslims sent his army, his soldiers to go flee, to go give dawah. Was East Africa.
What's East Africa?
What's the argument now? That trumps the whole slave trade argument that you guys try to use against Islam. That trumps that. Why? Because let's say
saying that Arabs was racist, basically.
Yes, saying that Islam
came to slave
Africans and everything.
And that's how Islam came to Africa.
And that's how Islam came to. We obviously historically that's false. Because Najashi became Muslim after the Sahaba. Which one of the Sahabas came that gave them the beautiful dawah, and he recited Surah Maryam for them, and then he said that sounds similar to what we have in our books.
Mm-hmm.
And if this person is gonna be a prophet, then I'm gonna I just don't remember the words verbatim, but he accepted.
He accepted,
and then he didn't get to. He died before he met Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Mm-hmm.
But the person was black. So that,
and to this day, one of the first masjids that you can find that's ever been built, you can find it in Ethiopia to this day. You can still find that masjid in Ethiopia to this day.
It's very historic.
This is how Islam has first found its way into Africa, and that's despite the prophets that may have came to Africa a long time ago that the Quran talks about, but in which we do not know. But the most important part about it is that the Al-Islam originated in Mecca as the religion that we find today, but the second place that it went to Africa. Now, we're going to bypass some of the politics, but I want to also address another thing that you find now, what's more common within African Americans or Africans or black people in general, who believes that Al-Islam is a religion that should be practiced by Arabs. Now, Salahuddin Ayyubi rahmatullah alayhi, he was one of the Muslims Khalifas, and he was fighting the Crusaders for Jerusalem. And when he would take over a certain place, he would conquer a certain place. Some of his soldiers wanted to do the same thing that the Christian Crusaders was doing to the Muslims after they win a battle. They would, defile the bodies. They would, pillage the town, burn the trees, do such horrific acts. And when some of the Muslim soldiers wanted to do that, he said, we should not do that. We are Muslims. And his soldiers said to him that, you know what? They do it to us. And he said, they are not our teachers. As black people, I understand wherever you go in the world that you feel racism follows you. You feel like certain people have prejudice towards you. You feel like people look at you from your skin color first. I know how hard it is to travel the world or to certain communities and feel like you looked at as less than. But the moment you start to adopt a black supremacist mindset, what makes you different from a white supremacist? And you would say no, but every culture and everybody else look at us this way. And I want you to ask yourself as a black person, they are not our teachers. We do not follow their path. If anybody looks at us because of our skin color, of our pigmentation, and judge us off of that, that's between them and their God. But as black people, like Malcolm X said, amongst many of the people that came towards the Atlantic slave trade was Muslim, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And when you want to speak about the Arab slave trade, you have to understand that it was a rogue. That's why it's not called the Islamic slave trade. It's called the Arab slave trade. Because the Arabs was the one who was wrongfully taking certain Africans in East Africa. And when they conquered North Africa, the Berbers and the Amazigh, they was doing some enslavement. And I'm not trying to justify it. What they did was wrong. But at least they enslaved everyone.
Yes, hold on. Before you even continue, because now the reason why this is very important, because you see, you got a group of people, individuals that try to make it seem like Islam is a racist and an Arab religion. Why are we Muslims? Because this is Arab religion. We should go follow the Pan-Africans and the worship your ancestors. Mm-hmm. Respectfully, they are dead. Why would I worship someone that's dead? What they gonna do? Let them face whatever they have to face in their graves or whatever. But don't tell us to worship them. But my whole point is, y'all make it seem like the Arabs only did it solely because of the blacks, because of their skin complexion, which is false, because they enslaved the Europeans, they enslaved multiple different Indians. They had just multiple Persians, different races of slaves. It's just different from the Europeans. What they did to when they came to Africa, they particularly wanted blacks. Mm-hmm. That's a big difference. So I wanted to clarify that Islam, we don't represent. We don't. My whole thing. What I'm trying to say is, Muslims, we defend Muslims. Mm-hmm. We defend Islam, but we don't defend the wrong of what culture, what race did. I defend Islam, not Arabs. Mm-hmm. I defend Islam, not Africans. I defend Islam, not this culture, not this race, not the proper teaching of Prophet Muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what we defend.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah.
And if we would look at it holistically and say we would not follow a religion because of what a few people from that set region did, then we shouldn't follow nothing then. Because those same Africans that enslaved us and sold us to the Portuguese and to the French and so forth and so forth, they followed the religion of their ancestors. They follow such and such religion. So who religion should we follow? What path should we be on? And some say spirituality. It's synonymous with
say the universe.
And this is the crazy thing, right? Because they say that religion is something that has to be organized spirituality. And we don't, as Islam, don't believe that Islam is a religion. We believe that Islam is a way of life. It is
everything.
It is as natural as breathing. Religion is when, for example, Christianity. After Jesus died, his followers created a religion called Christianity. Moses, he wouldn't know what Judaism is today because Judaism came out, was actually practiced long after his death.
That's facts.
These are religions that came about after the death of what was sent to the original prophet that was there.
Correct.
Prophet Muhammed, peace and blessing be upon him, was this al-Islam was a continuation of every teaching of the prophets before him. So what Moses taught, what Jesus taught, and now Allah said the world is ready for a completion of the religion of God to be in its entirety. It's not only specific for one group of people. It's not for one part of the world. It's not for the lost sheep of Israel. This is for insan. This is for the whole of humanity collectively. And if you're watching this video with a sincere heart, and actually look into al-Islam, and you do not listen to the propaganda amongst the news,
The lies.
newspapers, the media, whatever it is, and you actually look at how many people are accepting Islam, when they put the grudges or whatever bias they have and they look at what is true, you'll find that Islam makes the most sense
By far.
by far.
It's night and day. It's clear.
Night and day.
It's very clear. It's clear as day. Like he said, out of every major religion that's practiced in today's time, if you look at the prophets, the messages that were sent during their time, if you look at when they passed away and when they left, the practice of what they were teaching and the practice after they left is far different.
It's far
Prophet
different.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the only prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, where they were practicing what we are practicing, what Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam practiced when he was living. As he been passed away 1,400 years ago, the religion of Islam is still the same. There was attempts to try to destroy this religion, billions, millions of dollars, everything, but Allah protected his religion.
Subhanallah.
It's nothing we could do to, like, they try to change, they try to falsify, make claims, but all of that is refuted.
Corrupt the
rebuke,
religion, go
try
inside the religions and try to break it.
brainwash it.
From the inside. And face it, let's just say, for hypothetically speaking, right? We speaking to these Pan-Africanists that worship their ancestors, follow such and such African religions, right?
Okay.
Ibn Battuta was a famous traveler from Morocco.
Yes.
And I remember when he went to Mali.
Yep.
That's where we are all originally from, sir.
Yes.
Africa without borders is the Mali Empire. So either you from Ghana, you from Nigeria, you from Senegal, you from Guinea. That's all considered Mali. And the Mali Empire. Sorry?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Europeans came in and just broke it all apart. Anyway, when he went there, he found something very interesting in Mali, because he said that these people adhere to the Quran. But he found out when he went to the furthest part of the region in Mali, he found out these people did not accept Islam, and they followed the religion of their ancestors. And do you want to know what we was following before Islam came? We was animalistic, meaning we was worshiping animals.
Animism, something like that, right?
Yeah, and trees. Okay, so you want me to leave worshiping a God, Allah, and you want me to go worship or what? Huh? Ibn Battuta said they was also cannibalistic, meaning they used to eat humans. Where I'm directly from, I'm talking about where I'm directly from. This is what they was doing until Islam came. Now, this is not the same statement that I'm trying to say. That's what Europeans came into Africa and said, oh, you know what, these people are uncivilized, so I'm going to have to come in. No. When Islam comes, it comes to give you a better way of life without depriving you of your culture. What Europeans did when they came to Africa is they took everything from them and they tried to even take their culture and they gave you a new language. Notice, all the Muslim countries, they either speak Arabic, but they still speak their multiple ethnic languages. But go to the languages the countries where Christianity came from, they solely practice. They learn in English, they teach in English, they pray in English, they cry in English, they gave them clothes, they took their mindsets. In some countries in Africa to this day, on the governments, they are still wearing the wigs that the British used to wear back in the days in their court systems. And the British don't even do it themselves.
They completely infiltrate those places and affected the practice of the indigenous people of those countries.
Completely wiped it out.
To this day, you see them practicing that which was effective hundreds of years ago by the Europeans.
And
Very interesting.
everybody had to go through the same cleanse because when Islam went first into Arabia, they left a lot of those practices that they used to do too. Like they used to bury their daughters. Islam came and said you can't do that. They used to have 100 wives, 20 wives, 30 wives, sleep with each other's wives. Islam came.
Let me make a point real quick. Because a lot of people be like, why did Islam come to Arabs? Why did Islam come to these people? So automatically people feel they feel less of a person because they're not Arab, and they don't want to accept Islam because it came to this group of people, and they don't feel like they're fit to be a part of that because it came to the Arabs. Now I wanted to just talk about why Islam came to the Arabs around the world. During that time, the Arabs in, what is it, 14th century or 7th century, Arabia was a desert, was a place where even the Romans won't even invade or enter because of the corruption and how bad it was to go in those places. They was the worst of people at that time. Even the superpowers don't even invade those places because how corrupted and how bad it was in those places. So it only made sense that Allah Azza wa Jal, the creator, that we worship, sent a prophet to a group of people where it's worse, at its worst state. They was doing all types of like evil practices, burying their children, killing female, like they was doing a lot of evil things. So what happens? Allah sent Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to reconstruct, to rebuild, to rectify the evil souls that was around that time. So the worst of people became the best of people through Islam. I'm gonna say it again. The worst of people became the best of people through Islam. That's what Islam does to you. You can't fathom a person that used to worship idols, used to bury their daughters, used to have slaves,
in the haram.
walking around the haram naked. That's
sex.
the Kaaba. But all these evil practices, and then yet they're the best of people. So for you who watching, there's always hope for you. Turn back to Allah with a clean heart. Turn to Him. And those of you who are not yet Muslims, ask Allah to guide you. And Allah will. Allah says in the Quran that He guides those who are He guides those who are truly sincere. So if you're sincere, Islam going to find you. That's a fact.
And also, to piggyback on that statement, Allah sent Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him, an Arab man, the revelation of truth because he wanted to. Clear as day. Why did God create your mom? And why did you come from your mom? Why you wanted to be Chinese? You wanted to be Indian? Nah, it's whatever Allah chooses for us.
Yeah, and when we say we giving y'all reasons of why it could have been, that's not verbatim. Allah has His wisdom and His hikmah of why Allah sent prophet and messengers to,
like you said, one of the
people.
One of the wisdoms was, even the Jews during that time when they went to Medina, they was waiting for the prophet to come because they said that in this region, this is where the prophet would come from what they learned in their books. But when he actually came and they realized he was an Arab, and he wasn't a Jew, they said that we would no longer follow him.
Wow.
But that's not common to only Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him. That also happened to Jesus and Moses, and why didn't Allah send a prophet to come through our clan, through our lineage? Why isn't he such and such? Why didn't the Quran come down in French, not Arabic?
Where does it stop? It's gonna keep going.
Because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah wanted the people of Jacob, which we know as Israel. He wanted his prophets to all come through that lineage at a time. Allah says that, Ya Bani Israel, Ni'mati.
An'amtu alaykum.
We don't got to finish. All right, but basically, Allah was just saying, O children of Israel, I put my favors upon you.
Allati an'amtu alayhim.
I got a cold. That's why. I'm daily dying over here. But basically, he favored the Jews for periods of time. Are we going to say, oh,
We can wrap it.
huh?
We can make a final statement.
All right, so final statement. In conclusion, what we are basically trying to say is, do not allow you to have a Western perspective of race and religion where you tie religion with race. It is not synonymous. Religion is for humanity, and any religion that tells you that you only practice or you only follow this religion because you want to become like a such and such, just know that religion has nothing to do with God. Because if God created all of us, then that means we will have to all go back to him and we should all follow the same thing.
Islam is not only the best way.
It's the only way.
I think that's how we're going to end it off, fool. You heard me. Don't get your funny up.
Get your money up, right?
Don't get your funny up. Get your deen up. You hear me? Screw.